What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we will of course be covering the Ralts Community Day Guide. We end up getting some exciting information that the exclusive move was announced for Gardevoir and Gallade. It ended up being the move Synchronoise. Now, we have some preliminary stats for it, but we want to wait until it becomes officially put into the game. And in that regard, I will cover it on the Deep Dive series. Probably do a little bit of like a mixture of a Gardevoir slash Gallade Deep Dive, so we'll be doing like a combo between the two, since of course they will end up getting the exact same move. That's something that we predicted in the prep guide for this community day, with it being Synchronoise, so definitely excited about that. But regardless of that, we're going to be talking about the community day guide, diving into some detail, and then of course providing you an update to a couple of scenarios that I learned from the last community day that I definitely want to pass off to you. So with all of that being said, if you do enjoy this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So I am going to go ahead and briefly cover all of the features of the event, and then of course we will get into some added tips. So first things first, if you haven't seen the date yet, it is going to be Saturday, August 3rd from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. within your local time zone. Keep that in mind. The past couple of community days have been that way. You don't have to translate time zones or anything like that. But a secondary benefit, of course, not put on here, is that you can obtain the move 1 hour after the event. So just keep that in mind. So that means until 8 p.m. in your local time, if you still want to evolve up to Gardevoir, up to Gallade, you will be able to get the exclusive move Synchronoise. And then of course I will be covering it in the Deep Dive series as soon as I possibly can to discuss whether or not you end up wanting this to begin with. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That's going to be a little bit more of a live update, definitely before the event will begin though. But regardless of that, something interesting to point out is we do have a split evolution between Gardevoir and then of course Gallade. The difference being for Gardevoir, you just have to evolve it up like any other Pokemon would. But for Gallade, we've got a little bit of, I guess, a barrier to entry to it. Number one, it must be a male variation to be able to evolve it up to Gallade. And then secondarily, it will require a Sinnoh Stone. Now, unfortunately, Pokemon Go has gone quiet about the Sinnoh Stones. A lot of people predicted that it would provide you at least some Sinnoh Stones for this. Otherwise, I think people would get upset. We haven't heard anything officially from Pokemon Go. So if you are interested in how to get Sinnoh Stones, battling is the best way to go. Battle up against the team leader, battle up against some of your friends, Ultra Friend or higher, and then secondarily, you could even do it in person, like if you have a secondary account or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just forgot to mention it and then we end up with some automatically. I just can already predict a lot of people will be super upset if they got themselves a really good Kirlia that was a male, wanted to evolve it to Gallade, and just didn't have a Sinnoh Stone. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Up next, we've got 1/4 egg hatching distance. If you're a person who wants to buy incubators, definitely focus on some of the larger eggs throughout this entire event. Of course, cutting that distance down drastically. If you are a free-to-play player, I think I hover a little bit more towards that. I would highly recommend cranking out your 2-kilometer eggs, getting it down to 0.5 kilometers. You're going to just be able to just roll through it on community day. So depending on the way you play, there's definitely going to be a strategy associated to it. So as far as some of the items that I would personally recommend you to take into this event, of course, use your pineapps like crazy. Develop as much candy as you possibly can. I want to give a tip to this though. Let's say that you are at the end of the event and you have over 1,000 candy, for example. That's what happened to me on the Mudkip Community Day. What I forgot to do, I don't know why, I just evolved as many as I possibly could. Maybe with the mindset that I'll just trade it off to someone else in case they ever want the exclusive move. But that actually ended up hurting me drastically because I didn't have enough candy left over, for example, to unlock a secondary charge move, to be able to power it up. And because of that, I just kind of had a bunch of pretty good ones, like maybe level 27s, 28s, 29s, and then, you know, something like that. I wasn't able to invest in them afterwards. So I want to recommend you maybe to go ahead and just designate 250 candies, something like that. That way you can have it for powering up. And then, of course, unlocking secondary charge moves. I just definitely wanted to pass that off. Another added benefit to how to get to this point that I want to go ahead and voice is related to the new search features that were added into Pokemon Go. There's some very simple ones, like putting in a 4-star, for example, will tell you a 100% IV Pokemon. So as you can imagine, for Community Day, this ended up coming in handy. But for me personally, I just went ahead and wrote out these more complex ones. I don't want to drown you with the complexity of them. Instead, I just want to provide it in the pinned comment for you. The idea behind it is you can figure out what you want to transfer, for example. What is going to be a good trading opportunity? What would be a good evolution opportunity? And once you have all of those things, you can just utilize the search string to be able to really pinpoint it down. And of course, I would recommend you to go ahead and transfer before you start evolving, especially related to the candy side of it. You want to know exactly how much candy you have. That way you can dictate how much you're willing to power up, and then of course kind of designate some of that candy towards the Pokemon, instead of just ending up with like 12 Gardevoir and Galades and they're level 24s, level 25s, level 27s, and you don't have enough resources to power them up. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful. I want to know what you think about the Gardevoir Galade Community Day. Are you excited about it? Definitely let me know anything and everything in the comments section below, and I will see you next time. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.